They thought Roman Reigns was done. They thought the tribal chief had been humbled, dethroned, and sent back to the shadows with his tail between his legs. Every single person in that locker room, every executive in that boardroom, every fan sitting in those arenas, they all counted Roman Reigns out. And you know what? Roman Reigns let them. He sat back, he watched, he waited. Because that's what a real tribal chief does. He doesn't react. He strikes. And last night on WWE Raw, Roman Reigns struck, and Seth Rollins walked right into the trap. But here's what nobody is talking about. Here's what every single news outlet, every wrestling podcast, every so-called insider is completely sleeping on, and it is driving me absolutely insane. Because what happened beside Roman Reigns' car last night was not a confrontation. It was not a standoff. What happened last night was a message. And that message was directed at every single person in WWE who thought the era of Roman Reigns was finished. Let's set the scene, because the details here matter more than you think. Seth Rollins, the visionary, the Monday Night Messiah, a man who has clawed and scratched and bled his way to the top of this company multiple times. Seth Rollins walked into that parking area with confidence, with swagger, with that unhinged, almost maniacal energy that has made him one of the most compelling performers in WWE over the last decade. He was walking to his car. He was minding his business. He had just come off a show where he looked dominant, where he looked like a man ready to reclaim everything this company has to offer. And then he saw them. The masked figures, standing, waiting, positioned around Roman Reigns' car like sentinels, like soldiers who had been given an order and were executing it with military precision. No movement, no noise, just presence. And if you've been watching WWE long enough, you know that Roman Reigns doesn't deploy his people without purpose. Every move Roman makes is calculated. Every resource he uses is deliberate. This wasn't a random intimidation tactic. This was Roman Reigns sending a very specific, very personal message to Seth Rollins, and the message was this: I know where you are. I know when you arrive. I know when you leave. And when I decide it's time, you will not see it coming. That is terrifying. And the fact that Seth Rollins stood there and faced it, walked toward it, didn't back down, didn't turn and run, that tells you everything about where Seth's head is right now. Because a lesser man turns around. A lesser man calls security. Seth Rollins stared into the darkness of those masks and he did not flinch. And that is why this rivalry, if it fully ignites, is going to be one of the most explosive feuds this company has seen in years. Now let's talk about the masks. Because this is where things get really, really interesting, and this is where I need you to pay very close attention. Roman Reigns has always operated with a circle of trust. The bloodline was built on family, on loyalty, on the idea that blood is thicker than everything. But what we saw last night wasn't family. These weren't Usos. This wasn't Solo Psycho. These weren't people connected to Roman by bloodline or by history. These were anonymous figures, faceless soldiers, people whose identities are completely concealed, and that changes the game entirely. Because when Roman Reigns was operating with the bloodline, you could keep track of his pieces on the board. You knew who was loyal. You knew who might break. You knew who had a weakness that could be exploited. But an army of masks? You can't break what you can't identify. You can't expose a weakness in someone whose face you've never seen. This is Roman Reigns evolving, and it is absolutely maddening that people aren't screaming about this from the rooftops right now. Think about what this means for Seth Rollins going forward. He cannot prepare for an attack if he doesn't know who is attacking him. He cannot build allies against people he cannot name. Roman Reigns has essentially created a weapon that is immune to the usual counter strategies. Seth is smart. Seth is arguably one of the most intelligent, most adaptable performers in WWE today, but even Seth Rollins cannot outmaneuver a ghost. And Roman Reigns just showed up with an army of them. In what year did Seth Rollins first cash in his Money in the Bank briefcase? And who did he cash it in on? Drop your answer below. Let's see who the real wrestling fans are. Now let's get into the psychology of this confrontation, because I think a lot of people are missing the deeper layer of what Roman was trying to accomplish here. Roman Reigns doesn't need Seth Rollins to be afraid of him in the physical sense. Roman Reigns is a physically imposing, dominant force. Everyone already knows that. What Roman needs is to get inside Seth's head, to make Seth second-guess himself, to plant a seed of doubt that slowly, quietly, methodically grows into paranoia. Because a paranoid Seth Rollins makes mistakes. A paranoid Seth Rollins starts looking over his shoulder instead of looking forward. A paranoid Seth Rollins loses focus, and the moment Seth loses focus, Roman Reigns closes the trap. This is chess. This has always been chess with Roman Reigns. And the mask army isn't just muscle, it's psychological warfare. It's Roman telling Seth, you don't know my full hand. You never will. And that uncertainty, that is the most dangerous weapon in Roman Reigns' arsenal. But here's the question that is absolutely burning me up, the question that I cannot get out of my head since last night: where has this version of Roman Reigns been? Because this Roman, the calculating, shadow operating, anonymous armor building Roman, this is a Roman Reigns operating at a level we genuinely have not seen before. This isn't the tribal chief who relied on his family. This isn't the dominant champion who used Paul Heyman's words to cut the world in half. This is something new, something colder, something more dangerous. And if you're Seth Rollins right now, you have to be looking at this situation and asking yourself a very honest question: was I wrong to come back for this? Because Seth has been through wars. Seth has been through fire, literally, at times. He has survived things in WWE that would have broken any other person. But this version of Roman Reigns, operating from the shadows with a faceless army, with no rules, no family obligations, no predictable structure, this might be the version of Roman Reigns that even Seth Rollins isn't ready for. And that is what makes this so utterly captivating. Two of the greatest performers in WWE history, both operating at peak intensity, both with something to prove, both absolutely refusing to back down, and the stakes couldn't be higher. Let me tell you something that I truly believe: if Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns collide at a major premium live event over this storyline, it will be talked about for years, not months, years, because both of these men understand storytelling inside that ring at a level that very few performers in the history of this business have ever reached. They don't just wrestle, they make you feel something. They make you forget you're watching a television program. They pull you in and they make every punch, every near fall, every moment of drama feel like the most important thing happening on the planet. And it starts here. It starts in that parking lot. It starts with Roman Reigns' masked army surrounding Seth Rollins beside a car, sending a message that echoes far beyond what words could ever say. How many times has Roman Reigns held a world championship in WWE? Give me the exact number. No Googling. Pure wrestling knowledge only. Now I want to address something directly, because I know some of you in the comments are going to say it. Some of you are already typing it right now, and I need to get ahead of it. Some of you are going to say, this is just a segment. It's just a promo setup. It doesn't mean anything yet. And to you I say, with all the respect in the world, you are completely and utterly missing the point. In WWE storytelling, the parking lot confrontation is sacred territory. Some of the most iconic, most legendary moments in WWE history have happened not inside the ring, not under the bright lights of a pay-per-view, but in a parking lot, in a hallway, beside a car, in the shadows where cameras barely capture what's happening. Those moments hit differently because they feel real. They feel unscripted. They feel like genuine danger rather than choreographed entertainment. And last night, for a brief, electric, bone-chilling moment, it felt like anything could happen. That feeling? That is what separates good WWE television from great WWE television. And last night was great. Roman Reigns standing in the shadows, flanked by his masked army, watching Seth Rollins realize the situation he had walked into. That image is going to live in the minds of WWE fans for a long time. It's the kind of image you screenshot. The kind of moment you send to your wrestling friends at midnight with absolutely zero context, because no context is needed. They'll know. They'll feel it too. So here's where we are. Seth Rollins has been put on notice. Roman Reigns has revealed a new dimension to his game that nobody fully anticipated. The masked army is real, it is organized, and it is loyal to the tribal chief in ways that go beyond family obligation or financial arrangement. And somewhere in WWE headquarters, creative is sitting on a storyline that, if executed correctly, could be the defining feud of 2026. I need you to share this video right now, not after you finish watching, right now. Because the people in your life who watch WWE need to be talking about this. They need to understand what is unfolding. They need to see what Roman Reigns is building before it fully arrives, because once it does, it will be too late to get ahead of it. And drop your answers to both trivia questions in the comments. I read every single one. I respond to as many as I can. This channel is built on this community, on you, and I want to hear your thoughts on what Roman Reigns' masked army actually means for the future of WWE. Are they building towards something bigger? Is there a name behind those masks that we haven't considered yet? Could this be the foundation of a faction that rivals anything we've ever seen in this company? Tell me everything. I'll be in the comments. The tribal chief is back, and this time, he came with an army. Stay locked in. Stay loyal. Suplex Rumble, let's go.